At first glance, the media seems harmless. A film meant to entertain, a headline designed to inform, a radio jingle echoing through ordinary lives. Yet hidden beneath the surface, shadows begin to stir. Since the early 20th century, whispers suggest that subtle messages were slipped into reels of cinema, woven into the pages of newspapers, even embedded in the rhythm of radio broadcasts. Not random mistakes, not creative quirks, but calculated insertions. Have you ever felt as though something was guiding your thoughts without you realizing it? Secret societies like the Illuminati and Skull and Bones are often dismissed as myth, yet the same symbols tied to their lodges and rituals began appearing in mass communication. A triangle in the background of a silent film, a phrase repeated in wartime broadcasts, a strange emblem flashing across posters in crowded streets. To the average person, they were invisible. To the initiated, they were instructions. Symbols are never accidental. They are codes, triggers, fragments of forbidden knowledge carefully placed to mold perception. But why? Why would such groups care to manipulate the collective mind through media? Mind control is not always about force. Sometimes it is about conditioning. A symbol repeated often enough becomes familiar. Familiarity breeds acceptance, and acceptance lowers resistance. This is how psychological influence operates in plain sight. What if the shows, the ads, the images we consume daily are more than entertainment? What if they are rituals designed to shape behavior, to create conformity, to prepare the masses for a dark agenda hidden in plain sight? Did you notice how often the same images repeat and wondered why? What you'll discover now may surprise you. This journey will peel back the layers of hidden power. We'll trace how secret societies use symbols, rituals, and even hidden technology to weave unseen patterns into the very fabric of modern culture. And if you are ready to step beyond entertainment and glimpse the truth, write in the comments, "I see the hidden signs." Subscribe to stay inside this circle of revelations, because the story of control through media is only beginning, and the deeper we go, the more the unseen comes into focus. In 1957, the world was shaken by a revelation that seemed almost too strange to be true. A market researcher named James Vickery claimed he had slipped hidden phrases into a movie reel in New Jersey. Words like "drink Coca-Cola" and "eat popcorn" flashed for only milliseconds, too fast for the conscious eye to register. Yet according to him, sales in the theater surged. Audiences had no idea they had been manipulated, but their behavior changed all the same. Even though later reports suggested his results were exaggerated, the idea could not be erased. The seed was planted. If a phrase so small could shape decisions, what else might be possible? Governments, corporations, and secret societies took note. Imagine the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, or other hidden orders watching closely, seeing not a failed experiment, but a test run. If media could bypass logic and speak directly to the subconscious, it would become the perfect tool for mind control. From that point on, films, television, and eventually the digital age became fertile ground for manipulation. The shadows of influence moved silently, embedding hidden symbols, weaving psychological triggers, perfecting rituals of control masked as entertainment. Think of how the subconscious responds. A phrase whispered too quickly to hear, a symbol tucked into the corner of a frame, a flash of an image that lingers in memory without recognition. This is the science of psychological influence, the unseen power that bends reality from behind the curtain. And while the public debated Vickery's honesty, the real conspiracies were already in motion. Secret societies don't waste opportunities. They adapt, they refine, they amplify. If subliminal messages could push you toward popcorn, what might they push you toward next? Obedience, fear, acceptance of authority. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled." The danger lies not in a single test, but in repetition. Once the technique is accepted, even in secret, it can be expanded. What if occult rituals, symbols of forbidden knowledge, and cutting-edge technology were fused with subliminal messaging? What if the eye that never sleeps isn't just watching, but programming? Each advertisement, each broadcast, each glowing screen could be part of an ancient agenda updated for the modern age. But that's only the surface. Let's go deeper. Because if one experiment in a theater could capture the world's imagination, what might decades of hidden research, concealed archives, and silent conspiracies have created since then? And how many times have our choices been guided, without us ever realizing it? Once you start noticing the patterns, you cannot unsee them. The eye that never closes, the unfinished pyramid, the inverted pentagram, symbols that seem to follow us everywhere. They appear in music videos watched by millions, in Hollywood films celebrated across the globe, and even in the sleek logos of corporations that dominate our daily lives. To the casual observer, they are dismissed as design choices, creative flair, or harmless references. But when the same images reappear across decades, across industries, across nations, can we really believe it's coincidence? Or are these hidden symbols the language of secret societies, coded messages embedded in plain sight? In 1974, whispers began to circulate about apocryphal reports tied to Rosicrucian archives. These documents suggested that each symbol carried not just aesthetic weight, but psychological influence. A pentagram inverted is not just an artistic shape, it is a ritual mark, an invocation. The pyramid is not merely geometry, it is an ancient code of hierarchy and control. And the eye, always watching, is not only a reminder of divine oversight, it is a signal of hidden power that shapes thought and behavior. Together, these images form a system of conditioning that bypasses logic and nestles in the subconscious. Think about how the human mind works. Images bypass defenses more easily than words. A frame on a screen lasts only seconds, yet the message lingers. A logo seen 1,000 times becomes familiar, and familiarity breeds acceptance. Occult rituals have always understood this. Repetition transforms the strange into the normal, the unsettling into the expected. By surrounding us with these hidden symbols, the dark agenda ensures that submission to authority is no longer questioned. It feels natural. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled." But what makes this more than mere coincidence is the consistency. From pop stars flashing hand signs that form pyramids, to blockbuster films where the eye stares from the background, to companies that brand themselves with shapes echoing ancient codes, the pattern is undeniable. Secret societies understand that mass culture is the perfect vessel. Through the rhythm of media, forbidden knowledge can be displayed openly, yet remain unseen by those who are not awake. The symbols are in plain view, but only the few recognize their weight. And so the question grows darker. Are we participants in a global ritual without ever realizing it? Every time we sing along, watch, or consume, are we reinforcing the very conspiracies designed to keep us in psychological chains? But that's only the surface. Let's go deeper. Because if hidden symbols truly carry codes of obedience, then what happens when they are combined with technology capable of amplifying their reach beyond imagination? Centuries ago, the whispers spoke of rituals carried out in hidden chambers, underground temples in Europe during the 18th century, candlelight flickering against stone walls, chants echoing through darkness, initiates standing in circles as secret societies invoked forbidden knowledge. Those rituals were not meant for the masses, they were meant for the few, a select group that believed symbols, sounds, and gestures could shape the unseen forces guiding humanity. But the world has changed, and so have the temples, no longer buried beneath cities, no longer hidden in catacombs. Today, the stage has shifted. The temples are glowing screens, and the rituals play out before billions. Television became the first altar of this transformation. At first, it was only entertainment, variety shows, dramas, harmless distractions. But then came the symbols. The same hidden symbols that adorned lodges and manuscripts began appearing in broadcasts. Flames rising in carefully choreographed circles. Performers dressed in costumes that resembled deities of forgotten pantheons. Camera angles that framed artists as puppets suspended in invisible strings. Coincidence? Or a new form of occult ritual designed for the collective mind? When billions watch together, energy amplifies. And when attention is captured, manipulation becomes ritual. The internet took it further. No longer one stage for millions, but millions of stages for billions. Every music video, every award ceremony, every viral clip becomes a digital ceremony. Hidden power no longer needs cloaks and secret oaths. It thrives under bright lights, broadcast across the globe, disguised as culture. The psychological influence is subtle, yet overwhelming. A song laced with hidden symbols can be replayed endlessly. A performance infused with occult rituals is consumed by millions, each audience member unknowingly participating in the same rite. This is how mind control evolves, through repetition, normalization, and the unseen manipulation of what we call entertainment. Think of the last show you watched, the last spectacle that left you in awe. Did you notice the fire arranged in perfect geometry, the eye glaring from a backdrop of lasers, the dancers moving like marionettes? These details are not mistakes. They are ancient codes reinterpreted for modern stages. Symbols of a dark agenda hidden in plain sight. They turn every performance into a ritual, every spectacle into a ceremony of control. Write in the comments, "I will not be controlled." But the real question remains, how far does this go? If once rituals were confined to underground chambers, and now they flood our living rooms, what does that mean for the collective psyche? Could it be that every broadcast, every carefully designed show, is part of a global liturgy, an occult ritual played not in secrecy, but in plain sight? But that's only the surface. Let's go deeper. Because if the media is truly the new temple, then who are the priests of this hidden religion? And what unseen truths are they preparing us to accept without ever asking? By the 1980s, the world had already begun to sense that media was no longer just entertainment. The whispers of MK Ultra, partially declassified and heavily redacted, painted a picture of a dark agenda. Experiments with sound frequencies, flashing images, and repetitive narratives designed to shape behavior. While the public was told these projects ended decades earlier, rumors persisted that the forbidden knowledge gained in those labs was never discarded, only hidden, refined, and passed on to the hands of those who thrive in shadows. Secret societies, with their obsession for hidden symbols and occult rituals, would have seen such discoveries not as science alone, but as tools of mind control on a global scale. Imagine the power of frequencies tuned not to be heard, but to be felt. Low vibrations capable of stirring unease, of amplifying fear, of breaking down resistance. Picture images embedded in frames of television, flashing too fast for the eye to register, yet still captured by the brain. Repetition of these signals, day after day, year after year, slowly reshaping how populations think, act, and obey. When combined with ritualistic structures, the geometry of logos, the choreography of spectacles, the constant presence of the all-seeing eye, the effect becomes not accidental, but systemic, a program of psychological influence operating in plain sight. By the end of the Cold War, media had become the perfect laboratory. News cycles repeated the same words until they became truth. Commercials pulsed with music, carefully engineered to induce desire. Films slipped ancient codes into their narratives, conditioning entire generations to accept manipulation without ever recognizing it. Could this convergence of science and symbolism be coincidence? Or is it the mark of hidden power, a continuation of experiments never meant to stop? Write in the comments. I see the signs. Reports, though rarely acknowledged, speak of collaborations between intelligence agencies and hidden orders, testing how far the mind could be pushed before it broke. From the Thule Gesellschaft to the Rosicrucians, from the Illuminati to Skull and Bones, each has been linked to rituals that blur the line between mysticism and science. What if MK Ultra was not a failure, but a bridge, a way to merge occult rituals with technology, transforming mass media into the new temple of control, the very place where billions gather daily, unknowingly participating in a collective ritual of programming? And if repetition is the key, then modern media has provided the perfect stage. Algorithms track our every movement, adjusting what we see, repeating it until it feels inevitable. The unseen priests of this digital liturgy no longer need cloaks and oaths. They have data. They have access to our fears, our desires, our weaknesses. The eye no longer just watches. It guides, it curates reality itself. But that's only the surface. Let's go deeper. Because if today's media is truly the continuation of experiments born in secret, the real question is not whether we are being influenced, but how much of our reality has already been scripted by forces we were never meant to see. Look around you. Screens glow in every corner of modern life. Phones in our hands, televisions on the walls, billboards flashing along highways, music streaming into our ears without pause. We live surrounded by images and sounds, each one carefully crafted, each one designed to capture our attention. But what if capture is not the end goal? What if beneath the rhythm of entertainment, beneath the noise of advertising, there are messages invisible to the conscious mind, commands whispered to the subconscious, fragments of forbidden knowledge stitched into the very fabric of what we consume? This is the enigma that refuses to die. If secret societies once used lodges, temples, and rituals in candlelit chambers to influence the few, today they have access to billions. The temple is the screen. The ritual is the repetition of hidden symbols. The chant is the cycle of images and phrases that seem harmless, yet carry the weight of ancient codes. The eye, the pyramid, the inverted star, always present, always watching. We dismiss them as aesthetics, coincidences, clever design. But what if they are not? What if they are signals, codes of obedience, programming the collective mind beneath the veil of distraction. Reality itself becomes questionable. Every choice we believe is ours. What we buy, what we wear, what we desire could be shaped by subliminal messages. Mind control does not need chains or threats when it can bend perception at its root. And when billions are exposed, when hidden power acts through every glowing screen, how much of our will is truly ours? How much is manipulation carefully seeded, nurtured by unseen hands working through the shadows? Write in the comments, I will not be controlled. Psychological influence thrives on one truth. People rarely question what feels normal. The repetition of symbols turns the strange into the familiar into the accepted. Over time, the dark agenda no longer needs to hide. It can stand in the open, disguised as art, as fashion, as media. A world flooded with images becomes a world where the real and the manipulated blur. And once blurred, the line between choice and command vanishes. Some researchers suggest that what we call culture may itself be an ongoing experiment. From the hidden codes in music videos to the subliminal frames in advertisements, from the narratives repeated endlessly in films to the carefully engineered frequencies in songs, everything may serve the same unseen design. A conspiracy not of theory, but of structure. A game in which humanity has become the subject, and the media the altar of an unbroken ritual. And yet the greatest question remains unanswered. If society's secret have indeed shaped the media into a tool of control, then how do we resist? How do we separate reality from illusion, truth from manipulation? Is awakening possible? Or are we already too deep inside the unseen architecture of control? But that's only the surface. Let's go deeper. Because if every screen is a window into the ritual, if every sound is part of an ancient code dressed in modern disguise, then perhaps the real question is not whether you are being influenced, but whether you have ever truly been free at all. If you've stayed with me until this moment, you already know that what surrounds us is more than light and sound. Each frame, each lyric, each symbol could be part of a hidden design, a network woven by secret societies using media not to entertain, but to shape. You've seen the patterns, you've felt the weight of the unseen, and now the question is no longer whether these influences exist, but how deeply they have entered your own perception. To continue this path of revelations, stay within this circle. Subscribe, not as a simple act, but as a declaration that you are ready to go further into the shadows, to uncover truths that others prefer to ignore. Each step forward reveals another layer, another fragment of forbidden knowledge hidden in plain sight. And I want you to leave a mark here, a signal that you have crossed this threshold. Write in the comments, I see the hidden truth, a short phrase but powerful, a sign that you refuse silence, that you will not surrender your mind to manipulation. Each comment is like a spark, proof that awakening spreads, even in the midst of shadows. If this message resonated with you, if it stirred something inside, let your like be a quiet sign of alignment. Not just approval, but a subtle gesture that connects you to this flow of revelations. A way of saying, I see, I notice, I awaken. This journey does not end here. The next video is waiting, carrying with it another key, another fragment of the enigma that surrounds us. Watch it as part of the ritual of awakening, as a continuation of the revelations you've just received. Because every answer you uncover leads to deeper questions. And the truth is always stranger than it first appears. The media may be filled with shadows, but hidden within those shadows are clues. And the more we see them, the harder they become to hide. Stay alert, stay curious. The eye is watching, but so are you.